You know that feeling, right? Where you've like studied English for years, maybe you even did really well in school tests, but then the moment comes to actually speak. You just freeze, words get stuck, you stumble. Maybe you can't even put a simple sentence together. I remember this one time trying to order coffee. I practiced, can I have a coffee? Over and over in my head, and then just ended up blurting out coffee, please. It's a common struggle. But what's really cool is that today we're not just talking about the problem. We're diving into what seems like a surprisingly simple way forward. We found this really interesting approach from a Vietnamese YouTube channel, Web Thing Gay, specifically their video called Catch Noi Ting An Luruat Dulam, which basically translates to how to speak English fluently. Very easy, and honestly, some of the ideas pretty game-changing.
Yeah, and what's fascinating isn't just what they teach, but sort of how they do it. Forget endless grammar tables, right? They've boiled down huge chunks of English grammar into these, well, they call them magic phrases or mantras. Super memorable. And their claim is pretty bold. They say these foundational phrases cover like 70% of what you need to speak English fluently, and, this is key, correctly. It's like cutting through all the noise, getting the core right first time.
Right, so it's not just about fluency, the kind of word salad fluency. It's about accuracy, precision, from the get-go, like a shortcut, even if you feel like a total beginner. And we need to pay close attention because the source itself warns understanding wrong is worse than not understanding at all. So, okay, let's dig in. So if we want to build this correct foundation, where does this WebP and Gay approach start? Their first magic phrase is interesting. Soptung dung kong ko dun, which apparently means the noun is not alone.
Exactly. And that sounds simple, maybe a bit poetic, but in terms of English grammar, it's actually pretty profound. It basically means a noun, a word for a thing or idea like chair or cat. It almost never just sits there by itself in a sentence. It needs something with it, usually indicating quantity.
Okay, the noun is not alone.
Got it.
So let's use their main example, motorbike. How does this work for singular nouns? Just one motorbike.
Well, the simplest way is just using the number one, one motorbike, straightforward.
Okay.
But you can also use a or an, and the source points out these also mean one.
Ah, right. The classic a versus an question. How do they explain that? Because that trips people up all the time.
They have this really neat mnemonic, the NCAP rule. It's less about strict vowel letters and more about the sound. Think about it. Can you easily slot an N sound before the word? Like an apple? Yeah, sounds okay. So an apple, elephant, sounds fine, an elephant, but hen motorbike doesn't really flow, does it?
And motorbike. No, definitely not.
So if the word starts with a sound, you can sort of cap with an N, use N. Otherwise, use a motorbike. It's a very practical, sound-based way to remember it.
I like that. It feels more intuitive than just memorizing vowel letters, A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so we have one motorbike, a motorbike. What about the?
Right, the motorbike. This one's about shared knowledge. You use the when both you and the person you're talking to know exactly which specific motorbike you mean. The source uses this great little story. Imagine you go see a specific red SH motorbike on Monday. You like it, but you're short on cash.
Okay, happens.
You promise to come back. When you return later to pay, you wouldn't say, I want to buy a motorbike.
No, because it's that one.
Exactly. You'd say, I'm here to pay for the motorbike. Because it's specific, already identified between you both.
That really clarifies the, actually. These small words, a and the, they seem minor, but getting them wrong probably makes you sound less natural.
Definitely. It affects clarity and flow. Okay, so that covers singular nouns. What about plurals? More than one motorbike. The basic rule is numbers plus s. So 2 motorbikes, 3 motorbikes, 10 motorbikes. Just add an s to the noun.
Easy enough.
And if you don't have a specific number, but it's definitely more than one, you use some. Like I saw some motorbikes, meaning, several.
Okay, and can you use the with plurals too?
Yep, same logic as singular. If you're talking about the specific known ones, like if you bought 2 bikes yesterday, today you might say, I need to register the motorbikes because you both know which ones.
Makes sense. But now, the other tricky part. Sometimes you add as, sometimes it's as. How does this system handle that?
Yes. Another fantastic mnemonic from the source, this one in Vietnamese. Om Shin Su Ji Shozach.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, the literal translation is something like, Uncle Chin fixes superb motorbikes. But that's not the point. The sounds in that phrase represent the ending sounds or letters in English nouns, and later, verbs that need as instead of just as.
I see. So it's a memory aid for those specific endings.
Like words ending in S, sh, HHX, Z sounds, and O sometimes. Think bus, ends in S sound, so buses needs S, or hero ends in O, heroes. The mnemonic helps you remember that cluster of endings.
That's clever. So it bundles those exceptions together mentally. Okay, what about things you can't really count, like water or salt?
Good point. Uncountable nouns. The source mentions them briefly. They don't really follow the number rule. You generally just use them alone, like I need salt, or with the, if it's specific, known salt, pass me the salt. But they don't take A or numbers in the same way. The focus initially is mastering the countable ones, which are more common anyway.
Okay, so the noun is not alone, gives us the rules for getting nouns right. Singular, plural, specific, non-specific, powerful start. How do we build on that to actually make, sentences?
That brings us perfectly to magic phrase number 2, 秋电.
Which literally means crazy dog. How's that help with sentences?
Hey, yeah, it's not about calling anyone names. It's another mnemonic. C from cho, dog, stands for choto, which is Vietnamese for subject.
Yeah.
And up from ien, crazy, stands for an tu, which means verb.
Subject plus verb, S plus V.
Yeah.
The absolute basic English sentence structure.
Exactly. The core of almost any English sentence. The subject is who or what does the action, and the verb is the action word itself. Go, eat, think, run are all verbs.
Okay, so what can be a subject?
Lots of things. Pronouns like I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Proper names like the source uses Teo, but you could say John, Maria. And crucially, nouns like dog, but if the subject is a noun.
And the noun is not alone rule kicks back in.
Precisely. You wouldn't just say dog runs. You'd need a dog runs or the dog runs or dogs run. See how the rules stack.
Yeah, okay, it's starting to connect. So subject plus verb. Now verbs, they change, don't they? Like run versus runs.
They do, and this is super important, especially for the present tense, which we use constantly in conversation. The source lays out clear rules for this. Rule 1. When do you not add an "es" to the verb? Keep it in its base form. 2 situations. If the subject includes I, the speaker, or if the subject is plural, multiple people or things, the source calls this plural situation longvi, meaning like lively or crowded. Makes sense, right? More than one.
Okay, so I run, or if it's tuan and tut. That's plural, so tuan and tut run. Or we run, no S.
Exactly. Now, rule 2, when do you add S or S to the verb? This happens if the subject does not include I, and D, the subject is singular, just one person or thing. The source calls this kongdongvui, not lively, not crowded, just one.
So if the subject is a dog, that's singular, doesn't include I, so a dog runs with an S, or if it's lan, singular, lan runs.
Perfect, you've got it.
And wait, that ongchin suasia mnemonic for adding S to nouns, does that apply to verbs too?
It absolutely does. Same ending sound. So think of a verb like pass. It ends in that psi sound. If the subject is singular and not I, like Ronaldo, you don't just add S, you add S. Ronaldo passes.
Wow, okay, so that one mnemonic covers both noun plurals and verb endings. That's efficient.
Very. And there's one more little verb rule. For verbs ending in yai, if the yai comes after a consonant, like in cry or fly, and the subject requires an S ending, you change the Y to I and then add S.
Oh, okay, so cry becomes cries, like hang cries, and fly becomes flies, a bird flies.
You got it.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of little rules, but they are consistent, and these mnemonics really help anchor them.
Okay, let's see this in action. How do these 2 magic phrases help you just speak? Make simple, correct sentences on the fly.
Right. Imagine you're at a bakery, pointing at bread, subject I, verb buy. I doesn't take S, so I buy. Correct. Simple.
Okay.
You see 2 friends singing, subject hanamai, plural. Verb sing, plural subject no S, and my sing.
You're at the zoo, monkeys. You point, subject. The monkeys, plural noun, correctly formed. Verb, smile, plural subject, no S. The monkeys smile. See a single chicken walking. Subject, a chicken, singular noun, rule 1 applied. Verb, go, singular subject, needs S. Go ends in O, Uncle Chin rule. So, a chicken goes.
Using S.
But then, uh-oh, 2 chickens appear. Subject, 2 chicken, plural noun. Verb, go, plural subject.
No S. 2 chickens go.
Exactly. See how applying just these 2 core ideas, noun is not alone, and subject plus verb with simple conjugation rules, lets you build correct sentences immediately.
Yeah, it feels manageable, like building blocks. So what's the big takeaway here for someone listening? You're saying master these 2 concepts, these 2 mantras.
And according to the source, you've basically nailed 70% of speaking English fluently and accurately. That's huge. It's the bedrock. Forget complex tenses and weird exceptions for now. Get this foundation solid.
It really reframes the learning process, doesn't it? Less about memorizing endless rules, more about internalizing core patterns. Absolutely. And the source has some strong words about this. It basically says, don't be greedy.
Mhm.
The reason many learners get stuck for years because of greed, trying to swallow the whole dictionary, run before they can walk.
Mhm.
Mastering these basics builds confidence. It builds reflex. You stop second-guessing every single word.
So that final thought for you listening, just imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to make a simple observation in English
Mm.
about buying bread, about monkeys smiling, whatever, and having that quiet confidence, knowing it's correct, every noun handled, every verb conjugated properly, because you've internalized these core ideas.
Yeah.
How could that fundamental shift, that feeling of correctness, even on simple things, unlock your ability to tackle longer, more complex conversations down the road? Could this be the key to finally breaking through?